is Valley News Live at 4.
We start with breaking news out of Wisconsin this afternoon. The man accused in the Waukesha parade tragedy was in court today for the first time to face initial charges. He's accused of barreling through the event with his car on Sunday, killing 5 people and injuring 48 others. As Nancy Chen reports, he was apparently captured on video from a doorbell camera just 20 minutes after the carnage.
A doorbell camera appears to show 39-year-old Daryl Brooks on a front porch not far from the Waukesha parade route, where he's accused of plowing through a crowd, killing 5 people and wounding dozens more.
I called an Uber and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please? I'm homeless.
Resident Daniel Ryder, who had no idea what had just happened, let a shoeless Brooks use his phone and even got him a coat and a sandwich.
This whole time, he's got my phone. So when I'm getting messages to shelter in place and there's a suspect on the loose, he's got the phone getting those messages. I am oblivious.
Soon after, police arrived.
In a roundabout way, maybe I helped. I slowed him down for 10 minutes.
Brooks had a long rap sheet dating back to the 90s. Earlier this month, he was accused of intentionally running over his child's mother with his vehicle. He posted $1,000 bail just 2 days before the parade incident, an amount the Milwaukee DA now concedes was inappropriately low.
I could tell there was a lot of damage.
Brian Conkey was watching his 11-year-old niece Jesselyn Torres perform in the parade when the red SUV tore down the street. She suffered serious injuries.
She said, "Tell them to glue me back together."
Among the 5 people killed, members of the Dancing Grannies. Nancy Chen, CBS News, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Holiday parade planners in Fargo are on alert after the tragedy in Wisconsin. And tonight on Valley News Live at 6, see what steps are being taken to ensure a safe Xcel Energy Holiday Lights Parade on December 4th. We have more breaking news for you now. Autopsy results indicated that Brian Laundrie died of a gunshot wound to the head, and the manner of death was suicide. The attorney in this case says Laundrie's parents are still mourning his loss and are hopeful that these findings bring closure to both families. Laundrie was a person of interest in the death of his girlfriend, Gabby Petito. She was reported missing by her family when Laundrie returned to the Florida home that they shared without her in September after a cross-country trip. Later, her body was discovered in the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On to the weather, which has been very nice, especially for people heading out early for Thanksgiving or simply trying to get ready, or maybe hosting for that matter. Let's go to Hutch with the very latest on this November nice weather. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone. We have some sunshine out there, but clouds are making their way in. Now, we've had temperatures in the 50s in the south, and we're a little bit cooler up north, but all in all, it's been a wonderful Tuesday here across the valley. Warmest weather down in Sisseton. It's 55 degrees there. We're in the mid-40s in Fargo. Look at Fergus, 52 rather for you. A pool of 30s up in the Northern Valley, and that's how we sit as we head into our nighttime hours. Everything changes tonight. Notice we just have a batch of clouds working their way into our area. South winds ahead, but on the backside here, we got a shift taking place out to the west and north. North winds as a cold front approaches. By morning, some of us will see a shot of snow. So if you have morning travel plans to get over the hills and through the woods to grandmother's house, some gusty wind over 40 miles per hour is going to be making its way through. The snow showers look to fall apart. It doesn't look like a big snow-making system, but be prepared for reduced visibility, some slippery roads, and cold temperatures with nasty wind chills. We'll have much more on this system as we go through. It looks like it's going to be wind for all, flakes for a few. There could be some areas with some light accumulations. Mike, I'll have all hour-by-hour details on that. We'll look ahead towards Thanksgiving and the week beyond here in a minute.
All right, thanks, Hutch. The family of a North Dakota farmer who's believed to be in prison in Ukraine is asking the state's congressional delegation for help securing his release. The sisters of 50-year-old Kurt Groshands of Ashley, North Dakota, say they fear for his safety. Christy and Kimberly Groshands believe that their brother is being falsely accused of trying to assassinate a Ukrainian agriculture official. We're told that the office of U.S. Senator John Hoeven has contacted the U.S. State Department. Federal prosecutors say a trucker from Mexico was arrested after trying to smuggle a record-breaking amount of meth and fentanyl into the U.S. last week. The U.S. Attorney's Office says more than 17,500 pounds of meth and 389 pounds of fentanyl were found hidden inside a tractor trailer at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry in San Diego. The seizures are the largest of either drug in the United States for both 2020 and 2021. The driver, who's a Mexican citizen, faces federal drug charges. Minnesota leaders are discussing the state's efforts to expand hospital capacity amid the recent surge in COVID-19 patients. Officials at Hennepin Healthcare say the demand for emergency and life-saving care has surpassed capacity, meaning people are waiting longer to get care, transfers, and may not even happen, and patients could be left in care situations that don't meet their urgent needs.
If you get in a car accident in rural Minnesota and you need our complex trauma care, the additional 12 to 24 hours you might have to wait for a bed to open up here might mean the difference in long-term functional outcomes.
The National Guard is bringing in military-trained medical professionals and respiratory therapists to help. It's a short-term solution, so Minnesota Governor Walz urges people to get vaccinated and to continue to take precautions against COVID-19. President Joe Biden hit the road today to spend Thanksgiving with friends and family, and he's not alone. But for millions of Americans, the trip to Grandma's house will cost a lot more. Skylar Henry has details on the steps the president has taken to make gas prices a little cheaper.
President Biden announced the release of 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in order to lower gas prices for Americans.
I will do what needs to be done to reduce the price you pay at the pump.
The move comes ahead of the holidays, where more than 53 million Americans are expected to hit the road. Nationally, gas prices averaged $3.40 a gallon. That's $1.30 more than what people were paying a year ago.
Price of gasoline in the wholesale market has fallen by about 10% over the last few weeks, but the price of the pump hasn't budged a penny. In other words, gas supply companies are paying less and making a lot more.
The high prices are hitting drivers in their wallets and the president in the polls.
I have a feeling it has to do with Biden, to be honest.
Nearly a dozen congressional Democrats sent a letter to the president asking him to release the oil reserves and ban the export of U.S. oil in order to drive down prices. Critics say the White House has helped drive up oil prices by cutting domestic production.
President Biden canceled our own Keystone XL pipeline, but cleared the path for a new pipeline for Vladimir Putin. The amount of Russian oil that America has to import has already nearly doubled on the Democratic watch.
The U.S. is working with China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the U.K. in releasing oil reserves to drive down prices around the globe. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
White House officials would only say all options are on the table when asked if they would ban the export of U.S. oil in order to increase the domestic supply. Still no verdict as the jury continues to deliberate the fate of 3 men charged with murdering Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Bryan are all charged with malice and felony murder in the death of the 25-year-old unarmed black jogger who was shot last February. The prosecution has argued that all 3 defendants should be held accountable for the death. The defense maintains that the men who suspected Arbery was responsible for breaking into a construction site were trying to make a citizen's arrest, at one point even criticizing the unarmed jogger's appearance on the day he was killed.
In his khaki shorts, with no socks to cover his long, dirty toenails.
Malign the victim. It's the victim's fault. I know you're not going to buy into that. It's offensive.
The 3 white defendants could face life in prison if convicted. Arbery's mother has been in the courtroom every day for the graphic testimony, and she has expressed confidence in the predominantly white jury. You rib lovers have to be disappointed. Famous Dave's along 45th Street South in Fargo is temporarily closing this Friday. The sign on the door says the owners came to this hard decision over the last few months, and unfortunately at this time they say that we do not have a reopen date. The restaurant says it will be running special deals all week with a final sale of products on this Friday. Ahead of this Thanksgiving holiday, the Pentagon sent nearly 60,000 pounds of roasted turkey to American troops who are stationed on U.S. military installations around the world. The move comes after President Biden and the First Lady, seen here, served troops a Thanksgiving meal at Fort Bragg on Monday. Last year, in order to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus, holiday meals were switched to a grab-and-go takeout style instead of large group gatherings in dining facilities. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will be back in all its glory this year, just like in past years. 360,000 pounds of concrete barriers will be placed along the route for safety reasons. Last night, it was a festive dress rehearsal that took place. This year's 95th annual parade will cover the traditional 2.5-mile route. There is a minor change this year. Children under 12 will not be on the floats because anyone marching in the parade needs to be fully vaccinated. The parade will be televised on KVLY Thursday from 9 in the morning until noon. Here's a sure sign of the holidays. We're just under an hour away from the city Christmas tree lighting at Broadway Square in downtown Fargo. That event is scheduled for 5 o'clock. And Valley News Team's JC Dodd will be there for a live report. So if you're not able to make it out there, we've got you covered. That's during Valley News Live at 5. A popular essential oil found in Walmart is under recall. What you need to know, still to come on Valley News Live at 4.
But next, what a wonderful day. We had temperatures near 50 or above in the Southern Valley City. You were right on 50 degrees today. Near 40 in Grand Forks and Thief River Falls, and cooler air and stormy weather is on the way. I'll have details on what you can expect if you have travel plans for your Wednesday before Thanksgiving right after this.